president of the nonprofit organization, is Repairers of
That's
the,
right.
I apologize. Repairers of the Breach and co-chair of the Poor People's Campaign, Bishop William J. Barber II. Hey, thank you so much for coming on. You're going to be a guest panelist on tonight. So the question that I have to start out with, like, where do we go from here? Because part 2 airs tonight. What was the most beneficial thing to come out of part 1 from last night? And good morning.
Rickey, first of all, thank you for having me on. You know, we really started talking about how do we turn the marching and the mourning into the mandate, into policy, because this is, serious business. Dr. King one time said, a law may not make you love me, but it'll keep you from lynching me. And so there's some that want to talk about, how do we love each other on a personal basis, but we need to talk about policy. And that's what folk we're dealing with on the part 1, and we'll do more of that on part 2. We've had this bill now in Congress, which is a good first step, things they're talking about. But we also talked about, in reality, we need a federal law that says if an officer of the law kills or abuses someone with discriminatory intent, they can be tried for murder under federal law. Now, the reason one reason we say that is because way back, the Klan and others used to kill people because they knew that you could only try somebody for murder at the state level. They felt like they would never get convicted in the South, and so they did things almost as though, we don't have to worry about anything happening to us. We need folk to know, if you do this, there's going to be apprehension, there's going to be a trial, there's going to be conviction, and there's going to be incarceration.
Bishop Barber, I have to ask you this, all this stuff that's going on, and being a prominent man of the cloth, have any white evangelicals that put Trump in office based off abortion and gay marriage, have anybody reached out to you and said, Bishop, I understand what y'all going through, what can I do to help? Or are they just being silent?
What we have had is a lot of silence. There was and in fact, this is one of the great problems, is you see a lot of the so-called white evangelicals. Now, when it comes to bashing gay folk, they're as loud as anything. When it comes to talking against women's right to choose, they're as loud as anything. But when it comes to health care for people, they're silent. When it comes to speaking out on these issues, they're silent. You don't hear them. Or they might say they are against what they saw happen to George Floyd, but then they will turn around and say, but that's just one bad person. They will not own that it is systemic. They won't own that. And so there's an eerie silence. I like to say, Rickey, when it comes to many of them, they are so loud on what God says so little about and so quiet on what God says so much about.
Man, it's so crazy, man. Now, the world estimate close to 100 million people worldwide will be pushed into poverty because of COVID-19 pandemic. Now, how do you see the pandemic impact on the poor here in America?
Well, what we know with this pandemic, it exposed that America has great wounds, the wounds that are caused by racism and the wounds caused by poverty, and the pandemic exposed it. You've been to the doctor and they put that contrast dye in you to find out exactly what's wrong with you.
Yes,
well, that's what this pandemic is like. It's like a contrast dye, and it just showed everything that's wrong. And the fact of the matter is, we had 140 million people in poverty before we even went into COVID, and that's 43% of this country. It's going to be over 50% after COVID. And if we don't address this issue, and we can't address this issue, we need living wages, we need health care for everyone. And don't tell us you can't do it, because we found $3 trillion for the corporations in less than 30 days when this pandemic started. But we still haven't provided living wages, adequate income, and health care for the poor. We can do this, but we have to have a change in policy. And by the way, just so you know, we are bothered, upset, mad, everything you can say about the death of George Floyd. your little girl is the hero, the one who kept her camera on. Because if that had happened, we wouldn't be marching. But let's know this: 700 people die a day from poverty, and many of them are black.
So, in a related question,
die for every 500,000 people that don't have health care. Thousands of black folk die every year from poverty and the denial of health care. We're going to have to, if we're concerned about black lives, we're going to have to deal with those issues as well.
Right. So, Bishop Barber, thank you for everything. Let everybody know how you can be reached with, because I want everybody to know about the Moral March on Washington and when, where, why, all of the information. I'm sure you have it on your website. How can we reach you?
If they just go to www.June 2020 for the Mass Poor People's Assembly Moral March on Washington, a digital gathering. Going to be thousands of people joining us. That's www.June 2020. If you want to hear black and white and brown and young and old and people from the South, people from the North standing together, marching together, yes, but also telling their stories, testifying about their problems, but then saying, here are the things we are demanding. Here are the policy changes we are demanding. Join us at www.June 2020, www.June 2020, and we will see you there at the digital gathering march on Washington.
Hey, much love and respect to you, Bishop William J. Barber. Thank you for everything that you do. We love you and we appreciate you. Ladies and gentlemen, Bishop William J. Barber. Hey, thank you, sir. We appreciate you.
yes.
Hey, sorry about that, Eva. They was wrapping us up. I apologize. Coming up next, 8 minutes before the top of the hour, y'all, songs that will be in your head all day. Up next, you don't want to miss it, Rickey Smiley Morning Show.
Rickey Smiley Morning Show.